Air signs, your money forecast for the week of October 16th through the 20th has a tie to the Three of Wands. So this is going to be a week that focuses on your work, your productivity, your creativity, and how well you can remain rational in the face of challenge or whatever is happening to you or around you in your environment. This is a week that needs to hold integrity and confidence as part of the plan. You may be starting some venture, maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're expanding your business. And this is a week where you're putting your ideas out there. You want some feedback. You want to know if you're on the right path. So you're exploring some things this week. And so for you, negotiations or trade or enterprise could be important in some way. So you're thinking about things, you're putting your ideas out there, you're networking with other people, you're trying to get a return on something, you're casting your net over the water. And you're looking toward the future because what you're setting in motion, you're looking for that to come back to you some way in the future. But this week says focus on the task at hand. Whatever duties you have, obligations or responsibilities that are in the here and now, that's what's important to set the foundation for the future. So this is going to be a week where communication and your passion and your ability to put your idea out there is going to be very important. So you're resourceful this week. You're saying the right thing. You have some measure of influence over others. You've got the right answers. And again, you're handling things, and any kind of curve in the road or change, you're flexible, you're accommodating that either because you've decided to change direction or somebody else is causing you to have to change your agenda. And again, this is all connected to your personal expression, doing what you love, vitalizing a project, and in some cases, this need to release some ideas that you have. Now, in the negative, you may be dealing with some unreliability, some unpredictability. And either you or somebody you're connected to may fall short, they may let you down, they may cancel at the last minute, they may be changing the storyline or even withholding some pertinent information. So this is a week to rely on yourself. Don't look to others to carry the day because there's not going to be any last minute rescues if something goes wrong. It's going to come down to you and your own resourcefulness. Now, you may have an interaction where somebody is doing a little bit of spin, some marketing, and there may be, a penchant for trying to create a particular picture that's not altogether true. Somebody may be selling the stronger points without really, being forthcoming about where there may be some shortcomings. So either you're doing that or somebody's trying to sell you something. So you have to be especially careful about, what you put stock in. Now, the underlying influence is energy. Money is one form of energy. Feel good when you give your money, your heart, or your time, and bless the goods or services you receive. Release energy with gratitude as a source that will return. So, again, maybe this involves some kind of transaction or, putting in effort with your ideas, giving some advice or some feedback. Just know that whatever you're putting forth, maybe it's costing you in some way, but you're looking for that return. So whatever you're putting out there is likely to boomerang back to you. So do it with gratitude and love and good intent so that that's what comes back. Now, what's driving everything is this Three of Swords. And so whatever it is you're involved in this week has some kind of frustration attached to it. You may feel let down in some way, especially if somebody canceled or didn't come through. So you may be experiencing some kind of mental anguish. Maybe you're having to absolutely cut something out. Maybe this is about, since this has a connection to ideas and putting ideas out there, In some instances, this may be a need to streamline something, to cut it back, to only deal with the essential parts of it. For some of you, given what's happening, you may have to part ways or end a relationship. Maybe there's a separation. Maybe your ideas are rejected. Maybe you get some painful news this week, or something that you didn't know suddenly comes to light about a situation. Whatever it is, this week gives you greater awareness. You learn more about you, your capabilities, a situation, a partnership, and you're able to readjust what your priorities are. Now, if you're not dealing with your emotions very well, because again, this is about being rational, what your mindset is, what your moods are, that may pose a challenge to you being rational. And it may also pose a challenge to your priorities or your schedule or your agenda, because this is a week where there could be a breakdown in communications or negotiations. And when that happens, you're going to be a little bit taken aback. You're going to get a reality check. Now, for some of you, you already saw the writing on the wall. And so you weren't necessarily surprised about how things are playing out. And, maybe you found out that something is not going to go exactly your way, but even so, you're relieved because now you can come up with plan B. So for some of you, because things haven't gone your way, there's a loss of direction, maybe even a lack of ambition. You're starting to question whether what you're doing is worth it. Maybe you're going to change your mind. Maybe you're encountering some difficulties. Maybe somebody withdrew their help. They're not being cooperative, or your alliances are not being all that helpful. It could be that something you set out to do this week was just unrealistic, and you were putting forth all this effort. Maybe you thought it held a lot of promise, but it fails to deliver. For some of you, you're dealing with some opposition. Something that you wanted, that you were targeted toward, somebody else has come in and snatched it away. So if you weren't expecting this at all and you're taken by surprise, you may be particularly disappointed with the situation. And it may be difficult for you to cope. And again, it may tie to some last minute cancellation. But this is not a week to, have a pity party. And you have to look at ways where perhaps you've been sabotaging yourself. Maybe you didn't use the best judgment about your time, or where to put your talent, or where to devote your energy. And instead, you were trying to cut corners or come up with some kind of scheme or shortcut, and you ended up back at square one. So you may have some delays or some disappointments or even some losses because you just didn't make a good judge of your talents or your capabilities. Now, this is connected to cheat sheet. Shortcuts, get-rich-quick schemes, or illicit activity may backfire. Avoid unnecessary risk to resources. Make sure that you or associates are acting with integrity. So again, this comes back to that unpredictability, unreliability, unhelpful alliances, putting a spin on something and not being totally forthcoming, changing the storyline. So integrity is going to be especially important. Some of you, there are some discussions centering around a legal settlement. There could be somebody interfering, a third party, in some kind of transaction or discussion. You may be involved in some frustrating discussions. You're trying to put your ideas out there, and suddenly that may get shut down. There's a breakdown. Something just doesn't go through. And part of it may, again, be that energy is being directed, inappropriately, destructively. Instead of really focusing on what needs to be done, somebody's trying to, go through the back door and take an alternate route.